Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we were discussing last week, Swami is talking about what the pracharakas do, who uh, discourse on the Gita. And Swami also introduced the topic of parigraha. He says the pracharakas should not accept anything, giving some name or other, and that takes away from their belief or faith in the teachings of Krishna, which he has outlined. That's what we discussed. So I think I will stop here, and we'll continue from where we left off. Saira.
It is a pity that even extremely learned pundits at the present time are unaware of the thrill of putting into practice a single word of the Gita. What then are we to say of the unlearned, the ignorant? In short, even some very reputed exponents of the Gita are playing false to its teaching, acting contrary to the message. To the song of the Lord, each one adds a fancy note of his own to demonstrate his special twist in scholarship or his favorite predilection. Let us consider one example of this type. The 10th verse of the 6th chapter of the Gita declares that parigraha is a great sin. Now, those who accept the Gita as authority should act accordingly, avoiding parigraha, isn't it so? Parigraha means accepting even for the upkeep of the body and the maintenance of dharma. These pracharaks, however, do accept 99% of them. The condemnation of parigraha applies to all forms. There are no modifying circumstances or exceptions. Yet collections and contributions are asked for Gita Yajnas as offering during Harati, as expenses for the Gita Pracharaka Sanghas, as nazar or kanuka for the Guru. Lectures are sold for tickets as entertainment is sold. People who do this have no faith in the words of Krishna, for had they faith, they would not have behaved in such contrary ways. If they were convinced that it is wrong, they would not be tempted to act so. They explain the shloka and feel that their duty is done. They do not feel the need to follow the advice. That is the spirit of the times. For this is the age of hypocrisy. People who watch this type of Gita Prachar lose faith first in the Pracharak and later in the Gita itself. The publicity dissolves into mere pomp and vanity.
Thank you for that. We read this and discussed. If anyone feels that we have to dwell on its point, please speak up. If not, we can move on.
Can I just ask the difference between a parigraha or, like, for example, anybody like doing any kind of business, like they do something in exchange for money, but in this case it's just wrong because it's spiritual knowledge.
Yeah, so I think it's spiritual knowledge is my understanding. In spirituality, faith in God should not be substituted by faith in anything else. Is I think Swami's teaching. So anyone who wants to instill faith in God themselves should have faith in God. That means, they should not think, they need something else to look after themselves. because God will give what is needed. I think that's the message. But I think in the world, if they are transacting on anything, there is always a give and take. I think from worldly perspective, it's okay. That's my understanding. I will stop here. Others can share your thoughts, please.
Sairam. Sairam.
Sairam.
Today, I was listening to 2022 Guru Purnima speech, discourse by Swami. And Swami says, if you have a real Guru, your Guru Dachana is to follow the path of Guru, not anything else. Just follow the path of your own Guru. That is the real Guru Dachana. So I read it and I heard it, and I thought I must share with you.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to share anything?
Yes, Sairam, brother. So the real guru not supposed to expect anything. The real guru not even supposed to get even service or any wealth from the devotees. Then only he can preach the could be Bhagavad Gita or anything. So if anything goes wrong, there's a discrimination due to the discrimination. Someone will give this much money, other one will give this much money. Eventually, Swami is saying, the person who believe on Bhagavad Gita, because of the person, they are not going to follow even the Bhagavad Gita. They will come out from the spiritual path too. So that is the importance of the Guru, is not supposed to expect anything, any desire or attachment. He is not supposed to have that one. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
Ideally, then, like, is the ideal, like for anyone who wants to practice nishkama karma, then the ideal is that you just do your work, and then whatever you get, like whatever people want to pay you, then you should just accept that. Like, I mean, applying that in other fields as well, like any kind of business or anything. Is that kind of the ideal way to practice? Like,
yeah, I think it. I don't know whether anyone else has something to say. First, is that the ideal thing? We just accept what is given to us. We just do our duty without desiring anything. I think that's a question from Kalyani. Is this the way we should lead our lives? Is the question. Not only in the spiritual field, because after all, our regular life is also spiritual. So is that how we should live? Is the question. I will open it up for anyone to share your thoughts.
So, Sairam, brother. So in the spiritual field, the guru is there to take it as a deal. You cannot compare with the regular teachers. They teach something, and they will expect their whatever the service. Even we are doing the work, and we are getting some money, and we have to be happy whatever we are getting. But the spiritual world, when you are teaching somebody this is Atmic thing, Atmic Vedanta. When you teach something, you have to be example for other people. You are teaching that discrimination, you are teaching the desire, your attachment. You have everything mean how the followers going to follow you. Definitely, one day there is a break. You can see so many incidents happen everywhere because of the attachment and desire. Spiritual side, you should not expect anything. Thank you, Saira.
Yeah, I think, brother, the question is, we have gone past the teachers now. As individuals, how should we live our life? Should we expect things? Is it fair to ask for something in exchange of our services in the world? How do we practice?
No, yeah, whatever, suppose we are going to a workplace, whatever that money they are giving us, we are not supposed to be greedy. And we should satisfy, this is God's work I'm doing, and God is providing this work. We have to respect the work and respect the money and be happy. That is in the world we live. And the spiritual guru is different. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Uncle Gopal and Chidambaram.
Sai Ram.
Hi, Ram.
Just since you raised the question about the spiritual world, how to be behave yourself. One of the things is Swami has already. We had a play a while ago on thought, word, and deed, and we should be aware of it all the time. So I just want to. I don't want to elaborate more on it, but that should be keep a focus on Trikarna Shuddhi, thought, word, and deed.
Okay, thank you, Uncle. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share?
Sairam, brother.
Yes.
When you are living in the world, it's a spiritual, it's not on work side, worldly side, or your life. It's all applicable at all time. So all time you have to see whether that money is right. Is it that you deserve? Is it something not for this? It's not reasonable or not right. You should be declining in anywhere the offer. Thank you, Sarah.
So, sister, you said what's reasonable. I think that the question, what is reasonable, also will come up.
Yes,
If you can
reasonable.
elaborate.
Yeah, reasonable. That is to live for your life. And the comfort zone is not that I'm talking about. You have to have sacrifice too, right? So it's all count, right? It's not comfortable. I'm not reasonable mean there's supposed to be a sacrifice also supposed to be. So that's how we have to look at it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Sai
Anyone
Ram.
else? Saira, Auntie, please go.
In the past, I have seen so many scholars coming and giving discourses about Geetha or any Ramayana or Mahabharata. You know, the way how they used to explain to the general public was so appealing. And then, even though they did not demand anything for instead of their discourse about Geetha, people would themselves offer whatever they could. That is what Kalyani was saying, that is Nishkama karma they were doing. And people used to offer on their voluntary basis. But later on, we have found out that in the name of spreading Geeta's message, Geetha, Gnana, Yagna, and then this one and that one, and some people, not all, some people started putting a fees on that, to give so much money to participate in that. So that was very wrong. I feel that was very wrong. But if people are ready to give on their own, I think. Saku?
No,
Yeah.
Auntie, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I feel that's acceptable, Saira.
Saira, Auntie, thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thought? So I think, Kalyani, I will share my thoughts on this. I think that as Swami has said, we should not ask or demand anything. I think that's clear. But I think there are a couple of situations which we have to be aware of. One is if somebody is exploiting one in a workplace or something like that, and exploiting in the sense they are not treating oneself or the others around them properly, then I think we need to make a call as to whether we want to be aiding their own life. I think that's something which we have to make a call. I think that's the story of Duryodhana and the Bhishma and all come into play. If you want, do you want to be in the employ of someone who is blatantly living a selfish life for themselves? Okay, I think that's something which we'll have to pay attention to. But then I think that then the other situation comes in this world. We may get employed somewhere without our asking. We may be given a lot of money as salary, and we will think we have not asked, it has been given, so now we take it home. That's should we take it home? I think that's the second question. I think if wealth comes, if some once comes into one's hand, I don't think it is by itself evil. For example, if one is a CEO, I think people are getting paid millions of dollars. But the thing is, I think each of us should understand, even that money which has come into our possession, do we think it belongs to us? I think that is where the trick comes. So many people, like in the ancient times, they would say they are custodians of that, and they would use it for the welfare of the world. So even if you are a businessman, so I would say the capital which you have should be put to help the world. And there are a series of discourses which Swami gave for the MBA students. He called it man management. In that, Swami says, Swami is against people investing in shares and say, I am waiting for the dividend as a return. Swami says, if you have capital, then you need to invest it. You need to give jobs to people, and you need to work. This passive earning of, money with money is something which Swami does not agree with. Because many people think we have bought shares when we are investing. But actually, it's not investing. People are usually speculating. Or, they want easy money by way of dividend. So Swami would say, if you have excess money in your hand, I don't think we should treat it as our money. We should think God has given it. It's to be used for the welfare of the world, welfare of the society. So I think ultimately that is what boils down to aparigraha parigraha. See, that means we keep it for ourselves, then it's a problem. If the money comes, then it has to be spent for the welfare of the world, or it has to be made to good use of the society benefits. I think that is the approach. Otherwise, we may get paid a lot, we may make a lot of money, but if you think it belongs to us, it is our money, I think then it becomes parigraha. Even if it's considered legal means, is my view. I think Swami has spoken about it quite a bit. Swami says, if you have Aishwaryam, there should be Audaryam, commensurate. For example, how much ever you get, that much has to go out for the society. Because you should not hold too much for yourself. I think the too much is, something each person has to figure out what it is. So I think, Sahiram, I hope that answers your question to some extent.
So when you say what comes in has to go out, when Swami says that, is he referring to charity or specifically, or any kind of
charity in the sense, if it is a really needed? Many times people just give money away and say, I have done charity. Swami doesn't appreciate that also. For example, he will say, you can't say, I gave money as donation and I have done charity. Swami would say, if you are doing Narayan Seva, just giving money for somebody to feed somebody, it doesn't work out to be. You have to buy the groceries, you have to cook, you have to go and serve. Okay, so there should be some involvement even in charity, in whatever we are doing. I think there's no harm in, if there's some big infrastructure is being built, we can contribute to that. For an infrastructure, building is there means, people will contribute money for the infrastructure because everyone will benefit from that in a library or hospital or something like that. So that will actually, that is capital for serving the world. I think such things Swami would encourage, that kind of a charity. But even there, Swami would say, just don't give money. You also go and do some work, in that. Otherwise it becomes very passive charity. Because then we will not even pay attention. We'll just give money away and say, oh, if they are not using it properly, it is not my problem. So then it becomes, hands, we are away from the, actual running of it, which is also not proper, So I think that kind of charity is where you are involved so that the society benefit. I think all that matters in terms of charity also, is my understanding. Some of these topics actually Swami has nicely covered in the man management book, is my personal view.
So even when it comes to things like listening to different types of songs or different things like that, then if a song was created like with some motive, ulterior motive, I mean, maybe that wasn't the main motive, but they are making money out of it, even if it may be a spiritual song or something like that, then is that like a lesser, like, is that something that we should maybe avoid and rather listen to music or something that where there's no money involved at all?
So I think that is each person's choice, I guess. No, I think if ultimately it depends, I guess, and what we feel, does it connect us to Swami? I think that's a question which we have to ask. But I think on the topic of pracharaka, Swami basically says, if the pracharaka is not the best, it's better one finds a better pracharaka. It's my answer. I will open it up for others to share. I think Kalyan's question is, if there is someone who is trying to make money by even a devotional song, is it okay for us to listen to that song? And in that process, maybe we are contributing to that person's, business or whatever. How do we deal with it? Is that right question?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So I will open it up for others to comment on that.
Brother,
Yes.
we before Krishna, I think in the 2 or 3 paragraphs before we read it, we shouldn't do anything from in spiritual thing, right? So even the song releasing, he shouldn't have a intention to collect money from that. That's how I think I understood the paragraph before we read it, that Krishna said, no, no, Geetha, that's also comes under the teaching, right? The bhajan or singing, all related to his teachings, right? So I think that also falls under that one. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, sisters. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess my whole issue with this is that I feel like I'm condemning someone, or like I'm not contributing to somebody because of something like that. Whereas on the other hand, I'm totally doing that, right? Like I don't work for free. Like so I feel like a little hypocritical is it?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, Kalyani, because I think the topic of, do we have to engage, priests who maybe, not perfectly or whatever, you understand? I think that type of question you're asking. Should we support them? Is a question. Very, very valid question. Or should we just condemn them and, ignore them? I think that's your question. I think it is a practical question. How do we deal with the world? Even in the, in the name of spirituality, if there is some commerce involved, how do we, is it beneficial, and what should be our response to such activities which are around us all the time? Okay, did I paraphrase it well? Okay, so I will open it up for others to share. I think Sister Aruna says, we should just treat them like pracharakas. The others, please. Because Swami says we have to ask the intention of the pracharaka. whether they are practicing. I think that's the question. So that's Sister Aruna's point. So I will open it up for others to comment, please.
Saramana.
Yes, Sai Satish.
So just for me, I will not know what is the intention of the pracharaka, how it is going, whether they are asking for it at the end for a basic sustenance level, or they are over asking, that kind of a thing. Of course, there will be a certain level of understanding, but the real core intention may not be understood as such from their point of view. But from my point of view, if I see, like for example, in Parthi, whenever the Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yajnam happened, Swami would get all of these priests and everybody to come from Tirupati. They would do the Yajnam, and Swami would remunerate them. He would give all of that thing that is needed for them to do their services and whatever they have offered. And in fact, Swami would give in bounty in that kind of a framework. So when we see whether that particular person is offering a song with devotion, without devotion, I by myself will not know how pure is their intention, because I will see only on the outside, but on the inside of that person, only Swami knows. So to the level that I can support, because at the same time, we also say go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam, which means it's not just go and brahmana, any good thing, it becomes our bounden duty to support that kind of a basic sustenance part. So to the extent possible, where in our understanding that kind of a framework goes fine, to the extent possible that I can put in based on what I feel as a comfort level, it doesn't pinch, but at the same time I can stretch. That part is left to every individual to see how they can stretch, independent of what is seen from the outside. And at the end, if we are offering that also with a sincere thing that it's being offered to Swami, then even if there is a blemish, that offering gets corrected. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you. Yes, Brother Dasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. So whatever I mentioned before, when the person is teaching Geetha, he has to follow whatever is mentioned in the Geetha. He's talking about attachment, desire, niskama karma, viveka, and vairagya, and everything. If that person is not following, how he can give the enlightenment to other people? So he has to practice. Then only others can follow him. So when the others follow, they will realize the taste of the Geetha. Now, if you are selling for the money, or if you are expecting anything, you not going to get the benefit out of the Geetha. It's going to be a commercial after that. Thank you, brother Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, maybe I will also just share some thoughts. And I think very nice points made by Brother Sai Satish. We have a responsibility in society to encourage people who are in the path, even though they may be not perfect. I think the example of the king trying to, he brought this pracharaka, and he listened, and he realized that the pracharaka needs to understand the meaning. So he also helped the pracharaka to come to his senses that he need to cultivate greater faith. But at the same time, king was also supporting that person, because after all, he's not indulging anything in negative. But I think it's something which we have to. There's no one single answer. I think we have to It's a case by case situation. We have to support in the society anyone who is doing some activity, even if they may not be doing it well. Hopefully, we encourage them. It is better that way than people giving up something. For example, there are Brahmins, who may have learned only a little bit, they may not be practicing. But if they are doing some service in the propagation of faith and Vedas or whatever, pujas, or I think it's our responsibility to support them so that they will be inspired to do their work a little better. So I think from that sense, I think we have a duty in the world to support people who are engaging in certain activities, business, which tasks, or they're just making a livelihood by doing something good. I think we have a responsibility to support that activity. But at the same time, we should also be aware, are they instilling, devotion or, spiritual, if it's spiritual music, for example, I think we have to be aware of that also, because ultimately our own devotion will depend on, with whom we associate, with whom we spend thinking of God also. Sangam is also important. I think we have to balance, I guess, ultimately. As long as we are not charging, then we are okay. But I think when we are giving, in Tamil, they will say, Pathiram arindu pichud. Even if you are giving alms, you are supposed to evaluate the recipient of that alms, whether they deserve and whether you going to use it well, positively, and then give. So I will say, don't give money, give food for somebody, give clothes, things like that, but they can put to use, can be, so I think we have to evaluate. So we have a responsibility even when we are giving money away properly. There are a couple of good stories. Swami once went to Ooty. I don't know whether it will take too much time, but maybe I will spend, because it's a very pertinent question. So actually, it was one of my classmates. His name is Ruchir Desai. So when Swami went to, I think, Kodaikanal or somewhere, and one Swami called him and said, I want you to go and buy some shawls, shawls from the market. So this fellow went to the market, and he was starting checking prices from all the stores, and he found that the shawls which these people buy, they buy from some other place, somewhere far, a few 10, 20, 30 kilometers away. It's a factory, and there you can get the shawls for cheaper. So he thought, Swami want this many shawls, why don't I go to the factory and get it, go to the place. So he made arrangements. He found somebody to drive him, and so he went and got. Swami was very upset with him. Swami told him, because apparently when he went and asked, this is what happened. He went to a shawl store, and I asked him for one shawl. I think I don't know exact the price. That person said it's 100 rupees or something like that. One is 100 rupees. Then he said, no, I want more than this. I want, say, 10 or something like that. Then the fellow said, no, then the price will be higher. So he said, if it's one, I will give you 100. But if it's more, then I'll have to charge you 120 or something like that for each one. Then he said, how can you do that? That person said, for me to go and get the stock, it needs time. And if I don't have stock, I may lose client or some such thing, that person had said. So this person said, why should I pay 120 and this fellow is charging 100? I will go to the place and get for $80, 80 rupees or something like that. But Swami was very upset. He said, I told you to go to the market and buy. Why I told you is they also need livelihood. Okay. They will keep a margin. It's okay. Otherwise, I would have told you go to the factory and get it. So I think in society, even when we buy from a store, we need to know with whom we bargain. Actually, we end up bargaining with the poor people. But rich, stores, we will go and pay whatever price they ask. And that is so. Swami was conscious even then, how to support anyone's, job, business, who are working hard for it. So he will support. So he said, you can't give charity to these people. They have some self-respect. So they want to work for it. So you give them a bit more, I think that should be our attitude. I hope that answers some of the question you asked.
Yes. So, but then I guess, because we also talked last week about how if anybody is charging any kind of, even if it's a nominal fee for some spiritual retreat or something like that, that's completely wrong, we said.
Yes.
So it just seems like like hard to fine line, I guess. Like,
I think about Swami's organization, Swami was very, very particular.
right.
No money in Sai organization. Others, if they're giving, we are not going to get spirituality. I think that's what Swami would say. If you're paying for it, you are not getting any spiritual benefit. Uncle,
Brother Simon, okay, after
Sai Ram.
Yes, Auntie.
I think we cannot judge, because Swami says don't judge anybody, because they probably need something. They were hungry in the family, or we don't know anything about it. So that's their livelihood, and we can able to help them out, and then they will realize it themselves what they are doing right or wrong. So I think we shouldn't be judging anybody, and of course what you said, Arun, they go bargain with people, poor people. But like you said, they go and buy whatever the price they said, and they will go and give it to them. But the poor people need the money, so for the livelihood. So that's just wanted to share. Thank you, Zaira.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Sister.
Sairam, brother. So again, I'm back to Kalyani's question again. So you don't wanted to charge a nominal fee, but like for an example for the retreat. Okay, retreat, the main part, for the intention, we are not charging. For facilitation, of course, we are renting the place and all, we had to disclose that to them. So two different things are there, right? We are not charging for the retreat place, whatever we are offering in the retreat, we can say like that. Not for the facilitating, like a logistic and all, that is cost money. So on behalf of everyone to gain the benefit of the retreat, whatever the activity taking place, we can, that's as Auntie said, we cannot make judgment sometimes. If we have money, then we can. If not, we have to ask. Kind of. We can tell people this is the facilitation cost, kind of, not for the retreat, okay? Nobody is paid for it. But to come together, get these places and all. And the one more thing, brother, the richest place, rich people goes, and they don't bargain because they have money, right? Poor people, that everyone wants money, but that on that time your reasonability is very important, right? That's one of my thoughts too. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Yes, Brother Dasan.
Yes, Saram, brother. But here, whatever Swami is talking about, the Geetha Geetha, the person who teaches that one. I'm not coming to the Brahmins, because when they do the three kala puja, three kala sandhyavanam, that is our duty. Okay, nowadays it's all commercialized. But I'm talking about only the person who teaching the Gita, so that they should not ever charge money. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
So what's the difference between like that same example of somebody making a devotional song, and we said we should support somebody who's trying to do something good, who's devoted their life to sadhana, and like they're promoting the growth of spirituality in other people. What's the difference between that person, which we said we should support, versus the Geetha Pracharak, who's doing the same thing? They've given up their whole life to this study, spending all their time doing that. They can't do any other work.
It's not too different, sister. I think my understanding is. See, I think the question is, maybe I will go first if it's okay for the others. See, the thing is, I think Swami is asking each of us to evaluate from whom we learn what. Okay, so if there are people, if we want to really learn Gita, we need to learn from someone who has fully understood. I think there's no doubt or no confusion there. Okay, but then comes the second class of teachers, who are doing that for their livelihood for whatever reason. They don't have any other form of livelihood. And then we should be clear that we should support such people because they are engaging in some positive activity. But I think we may have a responsibility when we support such people also, that they need to learn to practice it, because otherwise they are doing disservice to Gita. So along with supporting such people, and I think we could also make them realize that. I think that is a duty. I think for us who is thinking that we should support them, not only financially, why shouldn't we support them spiritually also?
It's hard to do that when you're not doing it yourself, right?
Then we should, then comes practice, then we should practice. Then we should practice, so I think that's what Swami is trying to see. Swami, in no place Swami is saying don't support these people.
Right. Okay.
He's saying you should ask the question. You need to evaluate. You need to and support. See, so we can't say, oh, let them do whatever they want. God will take care, but we will just give them some money. Because that's a very passive action. Swami will say, why don't you give some genuine feedback? Which is what the king did. I think, so I think we have a role. We have a much more role than just being passive, supporter of people with money. I think we need to look out for their whole well-being. If some Swami will say, even when Swami says go and do Grama Seva, Swami says just you don't go do and come away. Swami will say when you do village adoption Grama Seva, you are supposed to go. You have to get the villagers to work along with you and then do Seva. He says if you do and say, they will say, oh, and next time they will come and clean and they will wait for you. Okay, then Swami said that is not Grama Seva. Okay, when you do Grama Seva, you need to include the villagers. They also should be part of it. You teach them how to keep things clean. If they want some implements, give them the implements. Let them also do. So I think Swami is very, very clear when we do Seva, how to do Seva. It is not a sense of guilt consciousness. I am eating, so I want to give them food and I will come away. So Swami wanted it a bit more than that. So I think, so it is Seva itself, it's a very responsible thing, it gives so much responsibility for us to do even Seva. So it is the similar thing, I would say. I hope I didn't dwell too much on this. Others, anyone want to say something, please do so.
Brother, I think Swami has given a good example to be like a king, right? That king, how he has given a lesson for the poetry. That's how we're supposed to be. And we support them. At the same time, they have to realize what they are doing. So that is the giver also has to always, Swami has said, you think that he's doing genuinely the work, then we support that. But the pracharakas, if they're genuinely doing it, they won't expect money. That's a thing. But we have to be like that story only. The king's story is very nice story. Thank you, Sai.
Yes, Sister Shivani.
Sai Ram, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but how I took this, and last week I missed, but before that, my understanding is here that and how I have understood is, so Bhagavan is talking about Geetha Pracharaka, very specific to Gita. You know, in Astotram, we have Sathya Sai, Gita, Bodhakai, Nama. He is the giver and the teacher of Gita, because Gita gives us lessons on life, spiritual life, how one can live life. And that has to come from a genuine person who is practicing, because otherwise that person, to me, is like a lot of people's karma. If you're teaching wrong stuff, it's like you're creating that culture of wrongdoing. So very specific to Gita, you cannot go to people who are living their life on teaching Gita, because Gita is a very is a base, is a lifestyle, is a spiritual lifestyle. But in terms of music or, you know, puja or yagna, in the past in Gita we have discussed about, you know, how people bond with some, I don't know the exact word, you know, you are Kshatriyas, you have to do the work. Some are Pandits, they have to do, don't try to walk the, you know, live the lifestyle of a Pandit, because they are born for that, they have to do. And we, to sustain them, for them to continue the work they are doing, of course we have to support that, so they have, you know, that sustenance is there for them. But to me, very specific to Gita, Bhagavan is very specific here to Gita. Gita is create that life, that karma for everybody. If it comes from the wrong people, those are not practicing, it can create a different, you know, culture, or it can destroy the livelihood of mankind. That's my understanding. This is very specific to Gita, because in Astotram, when I was reading, oh, he is a giver and he is a teacher, so it has to come from him. Saina.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sairam, brother, I don't know I'm saying the right thing, but based on my understanding here again, how Sister Shivani was stressing out, the Swami is talking about the Gita Pracharakas. Gita itself basically talks about Dharma, and Gita talks about all the Varnas. It's for the entire humanity, entire Dharma. So it's applicable to everything. I don't see it's a Gita. When you think as a Dharma is separate from your life, then we can separate that out. But Gita Pracharakas is based on the Dharma. It's applicable to every time, everywhere, every. That's how I would see that Gita Pracharakas. Yes. Thank you, Sayam.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. I think I don't know whether just to see whether I understood what you're trying to say. So Gita, Swami says, is the essence of Upanishads. Upanishads are nothing but an extension of the Vedas. So when anyone who is expounding Gita, I mean, they are expounding the Veda, all spiritual truths, dharma. So which is, all of them talk about what is Swadharma or what is dharma, what's the right way of living. So I think what you're saying is anyone who is engaging in any spiritually related activity, teaching, and then extending what Kalyani said, who are, you know, devotion. After all, devotion is also part of Gita. If somebody is singing some song and, you know, trying to cultivate devotion among people, so that is Bhakti Yoga. You know, they are trying to teach how to be a bhakta, how to sing the name of the Lord. So, you know, all that also, it's an all-encompassing thing. It is not the 700 verses of Gita, I think. I think that's what you are trying to say. Did I understand?
Yeah, brother, because it's talk about the Dharma for all the Varnas. So it's included everything for the entire humanity, how to live the life. So that's how I think it. Thank you, Sai.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else has something to share?
Sairam,
Sairam, uncle.
I heard that, you know, I'm in the opinion there is no such thing as spiritual world and the other world. Everything is spiritual. So, so are we going to? We cannot. My opinion is we cannot separate one who's a pracharaka or somebody else who's asking for charity. So everything is spiritual. So we should base our judgment on that aspect. You cannot separate, say only Geetha Pracharakas. We have to everything is there are so many Pracharakas, you know. So you have to use your own judgment, and if your conscience says it's not good to give to this guy or this this charity, or then it's your decision based on your dharma, whatever dharmas we have to follow. I take it that way. There are so many charities, they're pracharakas, they're doing, and most of the money does not go to the people where they're supposed to go. So 80% of the money is used for the collection agencies. So this is the judgment we have to make, and I feel that's the way, based on your dharma, as earlier mentioned, and what Swami says. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uncle. Thank you.
Saramana.
Yes, Sai Satyash.
Just adding to the discussion. So I think for me, the summarizing part of it is like you can trade the lower for the higher. You cannot trade the higher for the lower. So when the highest wisdom or word of God or whatever we call it, spirituality, that cannot be traded for something like money. It will lead to a situation where the vulture is flying high in the skies, but it's holding its vision on the carcass down below. So if the person is flying high in the realm of expounding the Gita and all of that, but always the vision is how much money can I get from my audience, then obviously the highest wisdom is being traded for something very low. So that is not permissible. But in the context of, if I am doing my office work kind of a scenario, and I'm offering that to Swami, and as much as possible as Nishkama Karma, then that lower part of the thing gets traded in as pure selfless work and automatically becomes the higher ultimate thing that we are striving for. So in essence, always to trade in the lower for the higher rather than the higher for the lower.
Thank you, Sai Satyash. Thank you.
So, and when it comes to supporting people, can we say generally then it's okay to support someone that we feel is, has good intention, is trying to do something good, and that we feel we've benefited from that person. So, but at the same time, we should also be aware that maybe what they're doing is not correct and try to correct them if we can.
I think so, Kalyan. I think that's our social responsibility, the way we understand. I think that's what Swami is trying to tell us. Even if you're a listener, you have to ask and, help everyone, ourselves and others. Because all of us are, after all, the same children of God. And so we should look out for everyone at all levels, financial, emotional, spiritual, in every way possible. I think it was very lengthy discussion, but I think it's because these are practical. Unless we know how to practice what we have learned, it's of no point. We say, "Oh, we have read this," and so this way a bit more clearer. How we should lead our life with more awareness, we'll be leading as what Swami would expect us to be. Okay, so I think that's good. If there are no other questions or comments, we can move to the next slide.
The teachings of the Gita do not get the respect that the book gets. Thousands of people, when they see the sacred books, Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavata, Mahabharata, bow their heads, press them to their eyes, place them on their heads, keep them on a special seat in the shrine, and reverentially placing a few flowers on them, they sit with eyes closed and with teardrops rolling down their cheeks, fall prostrate before the books, and rise very much satisfied with themselves. All that reverence is for the stack of paper, really, not for the contents of the book, the subjects they deal with. What the head must carry is not the weight of the paper, but the message explained thereon. Attach value not to the book, but to the subject. Revere not the volume, but the matter expounded therein. Install it not on the altar, but in the heart. For it is only then that the authority of the Gita will be honored steadily at all times. The mind will not be cleansed of egoism or like evils by all this outward reverence. Learning by rote, offering worship in the shrine room, holding on the head, pressing on the eyes, etc., let the message enter the heart. Put it into practice and taste the joy that comes therefrom. That is the way of honoring the Gita.
So I think there's nothing for me to add here. I will open it up for anyone to discuss. As we can see, Swami is telling us what we should work on, how we should benefit from the Gita. I will open it up. Anyone would like to share any thoughts, please?
Can you go through the Telugu?
Okay. Auntie there?
Yeah, Auntie's here.
Okay.
Okay. గీతా గ్రంథమునకు ఇచ్చు గౌరవము విషయమునకివ్వకున్నారు. They are not paying attention to the essence of the Gita, but they are giving the reverence to the book. Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, Bharata ityadi పవిత్ర గ్రంథరాజములను చూచిన తడువుగా కన్నులు కొద్దుకొని తలపై నీడుకొని పూజా గదులందు పీఠములపై నీడి పుష్పాంకితలు వేసి కన్నులు పోసి కన్నీటి దారులు కార్చి నమస్కరించేవారు వేలకు వేలు కలరు. It's exactly what he is saying in this paragraph, first paragraph. You can translate.
Yeah, Swami says Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavata, Bharata, such texts, as soon as such sacred texts, as soon as people see, they right away, touch them to the eyes, they keep them on their head, they put it in on
Pedestals.
on the sanctorum altar. They will put flowers, they will put garlands, they close their eyes, and there will be tears rolling down around their from their ears. And such people are there, thousands such people.
Yeah.
They bow down to them. But okay, Auntie.
Yeah. వారు ఇచ్చు గౌరవము, వారు చేయు పూజ, అర్పించు వందనములు కేవలము కాగితములకే కానీ అందులోని భావములకు కాదు.
But the puja which they do, the respect they give, and all their bowing down is actually only to the paper which is made up of the book, not the subject or the feelings which are engraved in those texts.
You can say అందులోని భావం అంటే essence of the Gita, message of the Gita is not understood. తలపై నుంచుకొనవలసినది గ్రంథము కాదు.
It's not the book which should be kept on top of the head.
Yeah. అందులోని భావమును చేయవలసినది గ్రంథమునకు కాదు పూజ. విషయమునకు.
The essence, the principles which are contained in them, those have to be
revered. Those have to
revered.
be
The subject.
Subject has to be revered. పీఠముల పైన పెట్టుట కాదు, హృదయ పీఠమును ప్రతిష్ఠించవలెను.
What actually you should place on a pedestal is the subject has to be put on the pedestal of the heart.
Yeah. అట్లు చేసిననే గీత యొక్క సత్యము నిత్యమై నిర్మలమై నిలుచును.
Only if that is done, the truth contained in the Geetha will remain permanent and blemishless.
I think I'm stopping here. I think that's only that much is there.
One more, Auntie, one little more, I think.
Yeah. గీతా ప్రచారకులు కానీ గీతా పారాయణములు కానీ విషయమునకు హృదయమున స్థానమిచ్చి ఆచరణలందు దానిని అందుకొని ఆనందమును పొందవలనే గాని శ్లోకములు కంఠస్థ చేసిన కానీ గ్రంథమును పూజకు అందలై పూజ గదులందు పీఠములపై నుంచి పూజించుట వలన గాని వాటిని కన్నుల అద్దుకొని శిరస్సును దాల్చుట వలన గాని వారిలోని మాలిన్యము మాయము కాదు.
So either the people who teach the Geetha or people who read the Geetha, they should keep the message subject in their hearts, and they should apply it in their daily practice, and they should derive bliss from that, but not memorize the shlokas, verses, or they should do puja for the book itself by keeping it on a pedestal, or apply touch them onto your eyes, or keep them on your head. With those activities, the blemish which is in us will not be removed.
Yeah, అట్టి కర్మలు మర్యాదలు పైపై మాత్రమే కానీ మాలిన్యము పోదు.
So such actions are just external respect only, and the real blemish in us will not be removed, will not go. I think the translation doesn't cover every single point which is in the Telugu, but I think the essence is similar.
Yeah, the essence is similar.
Is it blemish? It will not remove the real blemish, like singular?
Malinyamu Swami says, which is means the dirt.
Pollution.
Pollution will not be removed.
Pollution is.
So actually, the point that either the people who are pracharakas or the people who do parayana, both have to do this. That's what Swami says. I don't think that's in the English translation. So it is not only pracharakas, even students like us who are reading,
We have to follow them.
Says we should put them into practice and keep it in our heart.
But in practice, children are taught to memorize the Gita verses, and there is a competition also among children to recite it. I feel the first recitation, of course, is very necessary because they don't understand the meaning at that age. By at least memorizing those verses, they will come to know one day what the real message is. I think those things should be encouraged while they are young. Sairam.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Yeah, Swami is asking us not to give that up. I think we should not think it as, we should not, respect the book itself. I don't think Swami says that. But he says that's not enough. Yeah, that's not, we should not stop there. I think that's what Swami is saying. Like Swami says, when you're in kindergarten, if you recite nursery rhymes, it's very nice. You will encourage. But when you are very old and if you're still reciting nursery rhymes, then something is wrong. So, this is,
Mainly the message from Swami is that it's not enough just to doing respecting the book, Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata. The essence, what is the subject which is taught there, that we have to grasp and try to follow it in our daily lives.
yes, I
Just wanted to add to what Andy was saying. So it is like we have that story of this person who has 3 sons, and they are told to go into the forest and they will find a mine. The first eldest son goes, he sees the copper mine and he's happy with that. But the second son goes a little more deeper, he finds a silver mine. And then the third one goes beyond that also, and then he finds like a gold mine. So I think it's ultimately how further we go along it. So we start with that kind of thing of memorizing or kantastam of all these slokas, but then we go a little more deeper, we start understanding the meaning behind it, then we go a little more deeper, we try to start implementing in our life, and ultimately if we keep doing that, I think we get to the point of the fulfillment.
Thank you, Sai Sathya. Yes, Brother Tasam.
Yes, Sairam brother. Here the Swami nicely explaining, when you started to practice, only you can put into the heart. Then only you can feel the taste. If you don't put into the heart, it's like a tape recorder. You can memorize, you can say the Gita, all the 700 slokas. That's what last time I mentioned, even that artificial intelligence, if you are 655, what he's saying, it can summarize and it can tell you. But only problem is artificial intelligence doesn't put it to the heart. So it's not going to be liberated anywhere. So same thing, we have to practice at least one item, whatever said in the Gita, then you will understand the taste. Thank you, brother. Sairam.
Brother, I saying that ChatGPT is able to give you the shloka and the meaning?
Yeah, everything you can ask 600. For an example, brother, if I ask you, what is 655, it will tell you.
I don't know.
You won't able to tell that. If you ask artificial intelligence, it will give you, and it will give you good explanation. From whom we wanted to listen that explanation? The person who can give from the heart. Artificial intelligence doesn't have the heart. So at least we can ask, brother, can you go through this sloka and can we get back to us after 2 weeks or 3 weeks? We can wait for that to listen to that one. Then we can get the proper explanations. So it'll heart to heart connections, we can get it. Thank you, brother. Saira.
I know it's chat GPT, not hard GPT.
No, he's talking about artificial intelligence and he says we have to have artificial intelligence. So, so I think, is everyone okay? I think it's very simply, nicely explained by Swami. I think actually in the next slide also Swami is explaining a little further. Maybe we should move on, Kalyani, if it's okay.
The tastiest dish can never quell your hunger if you place it on the head or press it to your eye or fall prostrate before it. The Gita too is on par with this. The Gita is a tasty dish full of the sweet ingredients of bhakti, devotion, jnana, wisdom, karma, activity, and vairagya, detachment. Eat it, drink it. One mouthful is enough. The hungry man does not need all the grain that is harvested. A handful of rice suffices. The thirsty man need not drink the Godavari dry. A glass of water is enough. He who has hunger for God need not consume the entire Gita. It can be quenched by practicing even one shloka. A box of matches has many sticks. If you want to light a fire, you need strike only one. You can nurture the little flame into a huge fire with care and diligence. The entire stock of sticks need not be struck. There are 700 sticks in the Gita. Each one is a stick from which you can light the flame of jnana. Strike one on the stone of experience. That is enough. The Gita has to be used thus for self-realization. That is the holy task for which it is designed. It is a great wrong to misuse it. All attempts to use it for fame and fortune, for titles and display, are but symptoms of egoism. They are acts of sacrilege. The gandha, fragrance, must be extracted from this grantha, essence. That is the test of scholarship. This fragrance, gandha, is the essence of the book, grantha. Do not, on the other hand, transform the mastaka into a pustaka, the brain into a book.
Thank you. Maybe we'll read the Telugu also, then and we'll. Auntie?
పంచభక్ష పరమాన్నములు పాత్రలో ఉంచి వాటిని అద్దుకున్నంత మాత్రమున తలపై నిడుకున్నంత మాత్రమున కడుపు నిండదు.
So if you have a feast in front of you, just for touching to your eyes or keeping it on top of your head or bowing down to it will not will not fill your stomach.
ఇదియో నట్టిదే. That is in the same.
This is also in the same manner.
గీతా గ్రంథము భక్తి జ్ఞాన కర్మ వైరాగ్యములను మధురామృతమును నింపుకొన్నది.
Gita has tasty dishes of devotion, knowledge, karma, and dispassion or detachment.
Yeah.
Such beautiful, such tasty dishes are contained in Gita.
దానిని తీసుకుని ఎవరు త్రాగుదురో వారే ధన్యులు.
Whoever takes that and drinks from it, such a person is blessed.
వారి నిజముగా గీతాపానము చేసిన వారు.
They are the ones who have really drunk the nectar of Gita.
ఆకలి కొన్న వానికి ప్రపంచమున పండిన ధాన్యమంతయు చిక్కనక్కర్లేదు.
The one who is hungry, he doesn't have to get the grains of the entire world.
పట్టెడు అన్నము చిక్కిన చాలు.
If he just hands a handful of grains, that's good enough.
దప్పికొన్న వానికి గోదావరి కృష్ణా నదులు పూర్తిగా అవసరం లేదు.
The one who is thirsty doesn't require the entire Godavari river or the Krishna river.
గుక్కెడు నీరు చిక్కిన చాలును.
A little bit of water to drink is good enough.
అటులనే భగవద్ అనురక్తియను ఆకలి కొన్నవాడు గీతా ప్రవాహమును పూర్తిగా త్రాగనక్కర్లేదు.
So in the same manner, one who has the thirst for or the hunger for the attachment to the Lord, such a person does not have to drink the entire Gita, entire flow of Gita.
ఒక్క శ్లోకమును ఆచరణలో ఉంచిన చాలును.
If he practices one verse, that's good enough.
అగ్గిపెట్టెయందు అనేక పుల్లలు ఉండును.
So in a matchbox, there are many matchsticks.
మనకు అగ్ని కావాలన్నా ఒక్క పుల్లను అంటించిన కావలసినంత అగ్నిని అభివృద్ధి చేసుకోవచ్చును కదా.
So if we want fire, just one matchstick is good enough for us to start a fire and then grow it.
అన్ని పుల్లలు గీచనక్కర్లేదు.
There's no need to strike all the matchsticks.
అటులనే గీత అను పెట్టెలో 700 శ్లోకములను జ్ఞానాగ్ని పుల్లలున్నవి.
So in the same way, in the box of Geetha, there are 700 verses of matchsticks, which will give rise to the fire of knowledge.
ఇందులో ఒక శ్లోకమును పుల్లను అనుభవమున గీచిన చాలును.
From this, if you take one verse, a matchstick of one verse, and experience it, that's good enough.
గీతను ఈ విధముగా పవిత్ర వినియోగము చేయవలెను.
I don't know whether auntie. Oh yeah. So in this manner,
Geetha has to be used.
The sacred Geetha has to be used.
Pavitra Viniyogam, that's all. He is not meant here. Self-realization, no, it has not been given here.
Yeah, in a sacred way, it should be used.
It should be used. Kani, yeah, go ahead.
Kani durviniyogamu cheyuta.
Durviniyogamu cheyuta maha doshamagunu.
So if you, instead of that, if you waste it, it is great wrong.
ఆచరణ లేక పేరు ప్రఖ్యాతుల కొరకు గౌరవ మర్యాదల కొరకు ఆడంబరమును ప్రవేశపెట్టిన అది స్వార్థమే కాగా భగవద్ ద్రోహమగును.
Swami, instead of practicing it, if it is used for name and fame and for respect and name in the society,
external ఆడంబరమును ప్రవేశపెట్టి
and for ostentation, then if it is not only selfish, but it is actually a sacrilege to the Lord himself.
Yeah, Bhagavad doshamagunu. Droham. No. Grantamu nundi gandhamano vishayamunu tiyavalennu.
So from the book, you have to take the pleasant fragrance, which is the essence of it, the subject matter.
పుస్తకమును కూడా మస్తకముగా మార్చవలెను.
The book has to be made into your head.
కానీ మస్తకమును పుస్తకముగా మార్చరాదు.
But don't make your head into a book.
Arun, I did not understand this thing. Pustakamanu kuda mastakamuga marchunu. Whatever is contained in a book, we have to keep it in our heads. That's fine. But here she says, Mastakamanu pustakamuga marcharadu. Our head should not become a book.
The book should be made into a head, but the head should not be made into a book.
Into book. That's what Swami is saying.
So are you asking what to do? I think what I understood is Swami is saying our head should use that for thinking, the book should become the thought process, whereas you should not make your head into a book. So I think the way Swami says, you should use the book is actually, it is inert, but that should become a thinking tool. But rather, if you make your head into a book, then you are not thinking. Your book has your head is like a book. It is inert material. So Swami is saying, give that thinking capacity to the book, but don't make your head into a book. Means it is just a reference material at that point in time.
Yeah.
It's the way I understood. I know it is not translated, I think.
Yeah, fully it is not translated.
Yeah.
Swami often used to say in those times, why are you keeping all this in the pustaka? Keep it in your mastaka. That's what he used to tell us. It should be in your mastaka. That's in your memory. It should be in your memory, not in the book. Wherever you go, you can't carry the book. So put in everything in your mastaka. And mastaka not become book, he says here. I didn't understand that.
I think he's saying don't lose your thinking capacity using the book. Instead of, you lose your thinking capacity and make your head into a book. That means you are not thinking, you are not analyzing, you are not, studying it. You are just repeating it like a book. Yeah. I think that, so it should not become a book, rather it should be but the mind should exist with the contents of the book.
Yeah.
Having a slight,
Yeah. The thinking capacity of the brain should be there instead of it. If it becomes an inert book, there is no use.
It's like sometimes people memorize it, right? So memory will come, but they don't understand the meaning of it. So don't memorize it, understand kind of, right? Thank you, Sarah.
Understanding and memorize it. Memorize it after understanding. That's also. Memorizing is very important.
yeah, remembering, yes.
Yeah, remembering, but people will remember without knowing the meaning, right?
Meaning.
They just it's like a parrot. They will say things again,
Parrot.
but you have to understand the meaning like that. That's how I got it. Thank you, Sarah.
So, Sairam, brother, in a way we can put in a different way to some people. They take the book and put it into the head, and people all worship the book. So that means you are giving respect to the book only, not inside what is Geetha saying. Thank you, brother.
It's something funny, Swami has this habit in Parthi. He will walk into the bhajan hall and he will suddenly ask students, for singers, he will ask meaning of some words and he will say, what do you think? For example, people were singing, bhajans, and Swami once walked in and asked, you are saying, singing Sai Gajanana, do I have an elephant face? Like that, Swami, I had asked. So the thing is, many people thought Swami was offended by that. I'm not joking. The bhajan singers in Parthi, they think Swami was offended by that. Swami had apparently asked, do you think I have elephant face? Okay, so actually they banned singing Sai Gajanana. He said Swami doesn't like it.
Actually, what happened was we were in the beginning, there were no Hanuman bhajans.
Okay.
Hanuman were not there. When we used to sing Hanuman bhajans, adding some there, here, there, Sai, Swami would get upset. I mean, you want to make me as a monkey? God. Yeah, he has told us that.
You see, Swami always wants us to understand the meaning. But sometimes I don't know if Swami was also very successful in getting the message across to us. Because it becomes, Swami will say you are ringing like a tape recorder. Tape recorder doesn't know the meaning. I think so. It applies to everything in life. Understand what we are doing, analyze. So things like that.
But when we are seeing Hanuman, Ganesh, Shankar, Shiva, everybody in Swami's form, that has a meaning. We don't differentiate between Ganesha, Hanuman, or some other godheads, and we are seeing all the forms in Swami.
Exactly.
And including stone and trees. That's what we pray in the stone too.
Yeah, everybody, everything. Our Hindu scriptures say that.
See the divinity in God in a stone also. That's why Swami is again same thing. Swami says, don't make God into a stone, but stone into God.
That's what say.
It's the same thing. Mustakam, mastakam, mastakam, pustakam.
That's correct.
Sairam, Sister Maha, please.
Sairam, brother. This one, Ravi Kumar, I think he's the one of the interview was saying the Sai Gajanana. So what do we do now? But still some of the bhajan, I know some of them they change it, but still some bhajans we have like, Sai Gajanana. So what do we do now? We had to change all the bhajans, so that is incorrect. I really don't understand, when he said something like that, I'm kind of scared of singing now.
Sairam, it's not a Sai Gajanana, it's a Pahi Gajanana. Pahi.
Yeah, Pahi. But yes, but still some of the bhajan in between, it's coming like Sai, Sai Ganesh, something like that.
Sai Ganesha, it comes.
So one of the bhajan they changed it and we changed it. But how about the other bhajans? Even Auntie saying that Hanuman bhajan sometime, you know, what is that a meaning? We are making the mistake or we are not supposed to sing?
Sairam sister.
Okay.
I don't think Swami ever said don't sing. Swami makes people question what they are doing. Okay, so the thing is, Swami will never say, I am not Ganesha. You know, Swami has given explanation what is Gajanana itself. See, Swami has said why the Ganesha was given the name Gajanana and given the face of Gaja itself has a meaning. So the thing is, Swami sometimes wants us to think about it, you know, not mechanically sing. So, you know, sometimes people interpret it as Swami doesn't like this. Then we can't sing Sai Janani. Then Swami will say, am I a woman? You know, Sai Shiva. And, you know, then you say you were having all, you know, do I have snakes on me? All this, you know, am I carrying Trishuladhari, you know? So you can't, you have to remove Sai from everywhere. But the thing, see, Swami purposely makes us to think, open our eyes and understand. So it is not changing something. Swami has never said. If Swami wants us not to do something, Swami would have told in a public discourse. It is not like, I understand some of these singers in Parthi give these talks. It is their understanding, their interpretation. But personally, for me, if Swami has not told in a public discourse, it is not to be, it can be taken with a pinch of salt. You know, that's the reality. But, you know, we don't have to say they are wrong. We can just leave it, things as they are. Okay, because people like Raja Reddy, people like Vijaya have sung Sai Gajanana for a long time. Okay, Swami never said. So the thing is, we should ask why Swami is asking this question. For example, another, I think it's a topic, important topic, because sometimes when the Guru tells something, you know, it is to make us think. Don't mechanically sing. Because in one place, you know, they sing He Ramba Janani, Sri Sai Janani. Okay. They have been singing forever. You know, Raja Reddy has sung it for such a long time. So one Swami asked, apparently casually, what these guys are calling Ramba or what? Hey Ramba. Okay. So the warden came and told Swami doesn't like this, let's change it. Okay, that warden who told this, actually he's somewhere else now. Well, I don't want to talk about it. But what I'm saying is, Swami doesn't want us to sing any bhajan without understanding the meaning. Heramba is the name of Ganesha and they don't know the meaning, which is the fundamental problem. But Swami never said, don't sing this. For decades, that bhajan was sung. So Swami is very, very clear what we should do. If Swami is Shiva, Swami is Shiva. Swami is Ganesha, Swami is Ganesha also. Swami is Hanuman, Swami is Hanuman. But I think we should come to that understanding, and Swami wants us to sing meaningfully. When we are singing a bhajan, every single word, every single nama should be understood, and we should have some sort of a connection with the lyrics. Otherwise, it is a mechanical tape recorder singing. I think that's but you know, sometimes when Swami says people may not get what Swami wants, this is a problem.
Thank you, brother. I thought, you know, because Ganesha has elephant head, but Shiva is human form and others are human form. So I thought that is the only reason he doesn't want to sing, like I don't have elephant head. Yeah, but your explanation is nice. Thank you very much.
See, sister, Swami would have never meant. For example, there was a sannyasi. I think this story was also discussed here. He, you know, as a child, he did some Ganapati. I think Sai Satish will know the story well. But you know, so he had done some, you know, vratam for many days. He had forgotten. When he was an old person, he was a sannyasi. When he had come to Parthi, Swami asked him, you know, when you were young, you did this puja. Do you remember? He said yes. Then Swami asks him, so what is the result of this, you know, spiritual ritual? So he said, Swami, you know, you have to have the darshan of golden Ganesha. Ganesha will appear in front of him as a golden Ganesha. But Swami asks, did you get it? So he says, no. Then Swami says, here you have it. And Swami gave darshan as golden Ganesha. Okay. So isn't that Swami incapable of taking the form of a golden Ganesha? Can't we call that Lord golden Ganesha as Sai Ganesha? Sai who gave the darshan as Sai Ganesha. So ultimately, whatever we sing, we need to know the meaning. We need to sing with bhava, which is the real push for Swami to us to do anything. So, we say Allah, we say Jesus Sai, then Swami will say, I'm not Jesus, I was not crucified. We will go into this kind of, this is very sorry to say that we sometimes, interpret what Swami is telling us to do in ways which goes counter, and people think why Sai Baba had a complex or what. That's the way people say, and it is very sad. So I hope we understand every single lyric, any bhajan we sing, we need to understand the meaning. We need to understand that is the name of Sai. It is the name of Sai, and it cannot be anything else. So I think it is very, very important. I hope some of those who are giving these talks understand that at some point, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother, because my son's name was, I gave him Vigna, then I added Sai Vigna, then I was worrying, like, now I cleared. Thank you.
Saira.
That's okay to have Sai Vigna name.
You can give Sai Gajanan also. No problem.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Things
Sai-
4:30.
Sairam, brother.
It's
In
4:30
addition
only.
to that, brother, we can think about the attribute, the name, right? That's the real meaning, right? That shows Swami's attribute over there. When
Yeah.
we think of Hanuman, then how he is brave, how
Powerful.
the courage and all kind of things. It's reflect on that.
Yeah,
Just
correct.
I want to add that. Thank you, Sai.
Sairam, I'm not taking the time, brother. Well, I'm going to put in a nutshell. Swami is everywhere, immovable or immovable. You can describe Swami like a dog. You can describe how you interpret, how you are taking it. You can describe like a germs too. He's in all the forms. So all how are you taking, how are you because we are the one looking at duality. Once you think all oneness, then there's no difference. Thank you.
So we'll close for today. It's 4:30. We'll again meet next week. Sairam, everyone. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Sairam, Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you, Sairam.